Welcome back. This is Adding Style with CSS, and alongside Helen Zhang, I am Christopher Harrison. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, Helen actually has just gone through a series of amazing demos and put together a pretty good-looking site. And I'm now feeling a little inferior. Like, the pages that I've done up until now have been, really just kind of proof of concept ones. So I at least want to go in and try to gussy things up a little bit and kind of make things look a little bit more real world. And in particular, what I want to do for right now, I'm going to kind of sidestep the module, although we are going to get into transitions, transformations. Those are really important. And I actually want to focus in on one last little feature that we haven't yet discussed and talk about how we can get kind of a very typical style setup for our site. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the little site that I had before, and I still have that width of 75%. I'm going to go back in and fix that here momentarily. But what I did earlier this morning was I set up our little nav section here with our cool little mouse over, and I did all of that. And then I had the article here, and it was relatively long. And for this demo, I've now shrunk that down. And here's what I'd like to do, and I think this is pretty standard, pretty stock, is I would like over here on the left side to have our navigation. And then over here on the right side, what I would like is I would like columns. So that way, some of our text appears over here, and some of our text appears over there. Wouldn't that be nice? Please say yes so I can do my demo.
Yes, and it's very newspaper-like. I mean, when people are reading, or actually when I'm reading, I don't like to read across the entire thing.
Yeah, just down and then down the other side. Absolutely, yeah.
Although when I said that, I felt like I was saying I only read half of sentences because I only read to the middle.
You're trying to figure out.
I just don't like to read the entire line,
Exactly. All right, so let's start off by creating this side over here. And one of the things that Helen showed off was that cool little float capability. So what I'm going to do is take advantage of that. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say nav, and we'll put it in lowercase letters. And I'm actually surprised nobody's asked this, if CSS is case sensitive or not. We almost always get asked that whenever we're doing some form of a language MVA. And the way that I always answer that is treat everything like it's case sensitive. It just makes life a lot easier in the long run. Standard for CSS is to go all lowercase though, just like with HTML5. Okay, in the meantime, so I'm going to say nav and I'm going to say float, which is spelled like that, float left. Because again, we want it on the left side. And I come back over here, I hit refresh, and you're going to notice that my navigation section is on the left side. That part's good, but everything else is flowing around it, which is the original design of float, and that's not what I want. That I want this to take over that entire left side. This is where that display of inline block comes into play. So now what I can do is I can say display : inline block. There we go. Let's hit save. Let's come back over here. Let's hit refresh. Nothing happens because I also need to do it to the text as well to get that straight line. So now let's come back over here and I'm going to say article, and there's my curly braces, and I'm going to say display and inline block. Okay. And now let me come back over here, hit refresh, and now we've got that neat little dividing line. I'd like to kind of push everything over here just a little bit. So I'm just going to extend the margin left, and let's set that to, one rem. There we go. And now let's come back over here. Left, right. There we go. So you remember back to grade school. Of course, I can't do the L on the other hand, but when you're learning letters or learning left and right, see L, see it forms an L. So left, right, and yeah. Anyway, so coming back over here, now you're going to notice that that everything is the way that I want it, and I've got my my little links over here on the left side. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to divide this up with columns, but I've got a bit of a problem here because I could go in to this article and I could say, all right, well, that looks like it's about half of the text, and that looks like it's about half of the text, and I could go in and set up a brand new section and just put them next to each other using the exact same format that I used a second ago. That would work, but it's not going to work real well when the text changes. Now, what happens if maybe, and let's just come back over here, I go in and I do something like this, that maybe my text magically doubles in size because somebody goes in and copies and pastes. And now I come back over here and I hit refresh, and now you're going to notice that's much bigger. So again, I'm going to have that bit of a problem of how do I create those two columns? And this has been something that we've been wanting for decades now when it comes to HTML, the ability just to say, hey, I want that split up into two columns. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We can now do this with CSS. I'm going to come back to my article, and I'm now going to say column. Now you'll notice first of all that I've got column count. So all I'm going to do is just column count, and you'll notice again, let me zoom in on that. There we go. You'll notice that little pair of scissors that's indicating a snippet to me. So what I'm going to do with that highlighted, column, there we go, is I'm just going to go in and say tab, tab.
Nice.
And so that will automatically give me the vendor specific. And I wanted two columns, so I'm just going to say 2, and I'm just going to hit the down arrow. And poof, everything is now set to 2. So I just come back over here, I hit save, I come back over here, I hit refresh, and now you're going to notice that everything is flowing into 2 columns. Cool.
And you know all the shortcuts. That's impressive. I'm learning so much about Visual Studio from you.
Oh, thank you. I'm a big, big believer in shortcut keys. By the way, where's my VW from before? There it is. I want to go in and get rid of that. Okay. There we go. Okay. And you're also going to notice that there is a lot of other column options as well about whether or not you want to span columns. There's also different rules that you could go in and apply. You can specify the widths. You can put a gap between them and so forth. So you can really go in and kind of get full control over those columns, how the text is going to flow through all of that and so forth. Whoa. Let me just, article, and I want width, and I'm going to say 100 VW. Okay. Why did you work 2 seconds ago, and now all of a sudden you're not working? You're wonderful. Okay, yeah, there we go. There's my little demo. You know, for right now, I'm sure it's one of those little things of I'm sure I'm applying something not quite right. So I'm just going to put it back to that 75% since it was happy with that, and we'll just kind of leave it there. I figured that'll be good for the moment. Yeah.
I mean, it looks fine.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, now